Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. Wanted to put out a quick video this morning because the price of silver is absolutely surging, up more than 7% at the time I'm recording this video, up to $20.49 per troy ounce, just blowing through that $20 level. And when I first saw this spike up in the price of silver, I thought, oh, what's going on? You know, did we get a black swan event? Did we get war breaking out somewhere? Did we get something breaking in the markets? But as I've looked, I haven't really been able to find any specific catalyst for this move up. So I would like to talk about some of the potential causes of what's going on. And also I want to take a look at the physical market because it looks like certain items are drying up in the physical market and it may start to become fairly difficult to get your hands on physical metal. Now, one thing that came to mind when I first saw this was last week the Chinese were telling their state banks to prepare for a massive dollar dump as they want to support the yuan against the dollar, and so they're going to have sort of this coordinated attempt to weaken the dollar and prop up the yuan. And I thought, well, maybe that has something to do with this. But then I took a look at the US dollar index, and while it is in the red today, it's only a very fractional loss, down about 0.24%, still very close to that 112 level that it closed at last week. And so I thought, well, it's not an attack on the dollar or a crash in the dollar that's driving the price of metal up. And also, I would like to point out that the fact that the US dollar index is essentially flat today, and yet still we're seeing this big surge in the price of metal, is very bullish indeed for the price of silver, as it has been this dollar strength relative to foreign currencies that's been putting pressure on the precious metals lately. But if we're seeing silver surge in the face of a still strong dollar, that may mean that that trend is over. Now, another thing that we are seeing surge today is the price of crude oil. It's up over 5%. So I thought, well, maybe that has something to do with silver surging because, of course, oil is very important to just about every commodity across the board. When it comes to precious metals, extracting them from the earth and refining them is a very energy-intensive process. And so when oil moves up in a big way, that can drive precious metals as well. And this price surge in oil is coming in anticipation of this OPEC Plus meeting that is going to occur on Wednesday. And there's a lot of speculation that they're going to be cutting production by as much as 1.5 million barrels of oil. And so investors are bidding up the price of oil as they expect the supply to be constrained in the very near future. But I don't think it's oil either that is affecting silver necessarily, because we're seeing the gold to silver ratio collapse today. It's down over 5%. You can see here it's down to about 82.32. And if it was just oil that was driving the surge in silver, you would also expect the price of gold to surge. And while gold is in the green today, it's only up, less than 1%. So very tame compared to the move we're seeing in silver. And that is reflected in this falling gold to silver ratio. So I'm not sure what is driving the surge up. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I've outlined a number of reasons that I think silver should be priced much higher and that it is extremely cheap at today's prices. Even following this surge, I still consider silver to be one of the most undervalued assets on the planet. So perhaps it's just investors coming to their senses and realizing how shaky this whole situation is and what a valuable safe haven silver really is, and how when we reach the logical end game of this fiat currency experiment that we're in the midst of, silver is likely to be much more valuable and the dollar much less so, and inflation is likely to continue moving much higher regardless of what the Fed says. So perhaps investors are just coming to that realization now, and we're beginning to see the advent of a much bigger move in precious metals. And, I certainly think we are overdue for something like that, but only time's going to tell. I would like you to leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think the price of silver will do from here, and also what is driving this big surge up in the price of silver. And one other thing I would like to cover is what is going on in the physical silver market. If we go over to sdbullion.com, and they are today's video sponsor, so a big shout out and thank you to them.
Listen, you know the drill. SD Bullion is giving away a box of 500 new 2022 Silver Eagles that could have your name written all over it. But if you don't enter, it could go to someone like Silver Steve here. And while we like Silver Steve, he really doesn't like to share. So click the link below for your chance to win.
We can see that their 90% silver is basically entirely sold out. And I like to look at junk silver and constitutional silver as sort of a bellwether of supply in the physical market, because it has a very limited supply. They haven't been making this stuff since 1964, and so there's no new junk silver getting added into the market. And so when there's going to be supply shortages in the physical market, junk silver serves as sort of a canary in the coal mine. It's the first thing to run out. And as you can see here at SD Bullion, they are completely sold out of all of their junk silver listings. But it's not just limited to them. We can take a look at JM Bullion's listings here for 90% junk silver, and you can see they are completely out of 90% silver as well. Completely sold out. Not a single piece of 90% silver available. And they do have some of these 40% silver Kennedy half dollars, but that's not quite the same thing. You know, I guess if you want to buy some constitutional silver coins, that may be what you are limited to here moving forward. You can also take a look at APMEX and what they have available, and you can see they do still have 90% silver available, but for $25.59 for $1 face value. And so if you want to buy junk silver, it looks like you're going to be either paying a much higher price, or perhaps you could get some of their big bags. Looks like they do still have a couple of $100 face value bags, but still $22.72 per face value. And that's when you're buying a large quantity of these coins. And that's a huge premium relative to spot. I think that comes out to something like $30 or more per troy ounce of junk silver that you're buying. And so while junk silver still may be available from some dealers, it is going to be available at a much, much higher premium than what we were accustomed to. But the good news is there is still some silver available on the markets. On the Docs Deals page here at SD Bullion, they've got these 1 kilo silver bars. You can get any quantity for $3.19 over spot, and that is slightly higher premium than what we are accustomed to paying for kilos. But you know, I picked one of these up a couple weeks ago. I think I paid $2.59 over spot, so we're seeing premiums rise. I'm glad I picked that one up when I did, when the price of silver was a little bit lower. You know, it still might be a good time to be adding to the physical at this point. It may be our last chance, to be honest. You know, during the most recent pullback in the price of silver, I did hesitate to buy any silver, and that might have been a mistake because the supplies of physical looks like they are drying up. That junk silver, I think, is the first to go, and we may see other products beginning to be hard to get here in the near future. You know, that is one thing that we see when the price of silver really starts to move, whether to the upside or the downside, is that physical starts to become a little bit more difficult to get your hands on and premiums start to rise. I would expect from this point out, if the supply of physical starts to really contract, we're probably going to see premiums on just about everything rising in a big way. And, you know, that's a good thing for those of us who have physical silver, but you know, I still would like to be accumulating metal, and it looks like the window for accumulating cheap silver may be closing. Now, who knows? We could still get some kind of a major pan sell-off in markets. There's a tremendous amount of uncertainty out there. But today's price movement, I think, may be telling us that when the uncertainty really starts to kick off in the weeks and months ahead, silver may be moving higher rather than lower if investors are, in fact, really starting to begin to get exactly what the end game for this fiat currency scheme that we're in the midst of ultimately is going to be. Stay safe, everybody. I hope you're all getting prepared. I don't give financial advice on this channel, but might be a good time to get your hands on some physical metal because the window for obtaining actual physical tangible bullion may be shrinking. You know, we've been seeing the supply of silver on the COMEX shrinking. We've also been seeing a tremendous amount of upheaval in debt markets around the world. And that may mean that all that paper silver, you know, the 300 some odd ounces of paper silver that are traded to every 1 ounce of the physical, that stuff may not be worth much very soon. And it's going to probably be the physical metal, like these kilos of silver and your coins and your junk silver, that really are going to benefit from this move up in the price of silver. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. You think this surge is going to continue? You think this is the beginning of a big move in the metals? Or if you know of some specific catalyst triggering today's market action, please do let me know in the comments below. And I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe and happy stacking, and I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.